Good evening, folks. How are you? Welcome to Sci Fi Live, Sci Fi Talk. And yes, we're live, and I am your host, Thomas Fry. We are 1 minute late on the start, but of course, our Facebook Live is. It's coming through in a minute. We have to bounce it through another way because, of course, yet Facebook has changed another policy without warning anybody or informing anybody. And apparently the camera I have lined up on that, they do not like anymore. So you have to use Facebook. Well, I don't use Facebook, so I have to download it, and you have to re-log into everything in order to get it to work, even though it's open in Google right next door, and I forgot the damn password. So I went to look it up and then realized my Avast subscription is has gone and they need money, and I just haven't done it yet. I've been busy. All right, so we're up on Facebook now, but enjoy the YouTube because it won't be long. We will not be broadcasting on Facebook forever. We are looking at a way to leave it behind because the way they change their policies and the way you got to jump through hoops, and it's not stable. It fails. Eventually, GERN will be on its own web page completely, bypassing YouTube, Facebook, all them pieces of crap that we have to use now to get out to our people. But we are working very hard behind the scenes to change that. We were just talking about it today for like 3 hours. I should have just recorded that phone call and played it on the air. So if maybe my producer wants to call in later, we'll repeat some of that phone conversation we've had. And you'll get a nice earful. I cannot talk tonight. All right, so someone holler back at me if I'm loud enough, and I will try to grab the right mouse and do what I want to. The one last thing, I need to bring up my YouTube one so I can get the chat room on. And all right, chat room's up. No, oh, okay. Thank you on the sound check. I just because I turned the volumes down right before I started the show because I was dealing with some other technology and I forgot to readjust it back to my show settings. So yeah, I'm with it tonight. I'm really psyched about tonight's show. I was trying to do too much. You would not believe. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, I put up a thing saying, blue collar politics would be on tonight. And I didn't catch it till like 5:30. And I'm like, oh, this is the wrong show. So I spent, an hour switching everything back over to Sci-Fi Talk where it should be. And see, that's what happens when you're sick and miss a week. You get all kerfluffled at the next show when you go to do it. It was, wow. All right. So I'm almost want to replay the intro and just start over. But I think we are good to go now. So what we're going to do first is let's get our sci-fi channel out of the way. We got Stranger Things coming up with the season 4 this year, and David Harbour Harbor promises Stranger Things fans meaty Rich Hopper backstory in season 4. Stranger Things was one of the biggest genre shows that the production was caught in the coronavirus pandemic, halting its shoot back in March, right as things began to kick off on the Netflix hits 4th season. Now, the 80s set sci-fi series, which left fans with a cliffhanger during the fate of the breakout character, a fan favorite, Jim Hopper. David Harbour is in limbo, but that does not mean its cast lacks updates and teasers for their dedicated followers. During Harbour's appearance on LA Times, Can't Stop Watching podcast, the actor explained where the show is in its production, as well as where fans can expect from the 4th season when it premieres. Harbour said that the team had shot a bunch of Lithuania before we shot a couple of days in Atlanta, and the table read, and then shut down, and he went to New York, then to the UK. And that meant communicating with the rest of the show's team, including show-running Duffer Brothers, remotely. So, do not fear. Stranger Things will be on, and it will fill you in on a lot of stuff that is going on. Now, I'm not going to go through them all, but the top 50, if it would go to it, the top 50 sci-fi movies and TV shows, the list is out. Now, we're not going to go over all 50, but we will post the link for all 50. I was just going to go the top 10, but we got to get number 11 in there. So the number 11 of the top 50 is Avengers Endgame, which they give it a generous 78 Metascore, and I don't give it such a high rating, but it was so big budget that I think there's no way if Endgame was 4 hours long, then yeah, it would have been cool. I think they just cut the individual stories down to where everything was happening so fast. I mean, if you went to the bathroom or to get a thing of popcorn, you were lost for a few minutes. And then, of course, number 10, we got Dark. Family saga with supernatural twists set in a German town where the disappearance of 2 young children exposes the relationship among 4 families. It's got Caroline Eckgorn in it, Louis Hoffman, Jordis Tribble, and Maha Shone. Not bad, 8.7 stars. So that's a lot of other readers and watchers think it's pretty good. Then you got 9. You've got Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I have not seen it yet, but it's got kind of a crappy Metascore, and it's only got 6.7 stars. So how that got to number 9, I'm not sure. In animation is our first top 10 one is The Midnight Gospel, made in 2020 with 8.4 stars. Clancy, a space caster with a malfunctioning multiverse simulator who leaves the comfort of his home to interview beings living in dying worlds. That actually sounds pretty good. Snowpiercer is number 7. That's in pre-production, set over 7 years after the world has become a frozen wasteland. Snowpiercer centers on the remnants of humanity who inhabit a gigantic, perpetually moving train that circles the globe. I saw that. It was called something else, but I guess they're remaking it. I saw the original, and the original was good. Kind of, if you got to get past the it's a frozen world, and the only thing they can get to work is a train, and if this train doesn't move, that they all die. Yet everybody gets off the train at the end, and there are people that are surviving, just they didn't know about it. Um, Pretty, it definitely is out there fantasy. And then here's one of our very first millennial um, shows. It's a 30-minute. It's a comedy, mystery. A man who's able to choose his own afterlife after his untimely death. There's another one. Oh, what is that? You know what? Odin, if you know this, holler back at me. What's that anime where he dies and God lets him go to another world with a smartphone and resets his smartphone so he can still surf the internet? He just can't talk to nobody. And then he like gets famous because he's bringing all these modern conveniences. He looks up how to build them on the internet, builds them, and he brought a bicycle to the king. And you know, imagine a king that rides horses, and then you give him a bicycle. I mean, he's gonna be color him impressed, you know. And then number 5, what we opened up the show with, is Stranger Things. That's an 8/8. Everybody seems to like that. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I want to binge watch it all at once. But I guess I'll wait till after they get going on season 4. Not all of us like the same kind of sci-fi. That's the wonderful thing about sci-fi. It is so broad, and it covers everything at one point. Everything was science fiction before it was science fact. Because if you think about it, Star Trek brought out the individual communicator. Now, our cell phones are 10 times as powerful as the communicator because, you know, we used to have the flip phone, but it didn't go dee-dee-dee. When you flipped it open, it just worked as a cell phone. That would be annoying to every time you open a communicator, it went dee-dee-deep and then dee-dee-deep. You know, me, I'd try to answer it when it opens. All right, so let's get on. We got 4 more to go, and then we are to the number 1 show. And if anyone texts me or chats what the number 1 show is without looking it up, I'll give you a prize. Number 4, we got The Platform, a vertical prison with 1 cell per level, 2 people per cell, the only food platform, and 2 minutes per day to feed from up to down, and an endless nightmare trapped in the hole. Well, that sounds like it's pretty cheap to make. You only got like what, 3 rooms you have to shoot in. A vertical prison, 1 cell per level. That'd be miserable. You better be nothing but murders and bad people in there. And then next we have Star Wars on our list again, only this time for the Clone Wars from 2008 to 2020. Jedi Knights lead the Grand Army of the Republic against the droid army of the Separatists. And I liked I liked it, but the whole Star Wars theme to me, it's on, you know, in trying to show the entire universe. They had such a large universe in Star Wars that all 9 movies are only talking about one faction of the entire economy and the structure of the entire universe, and it only stays on the political, the senators and the senators' guards, which are known as Jedi, and they keep the upper levels of peace throughout the universe in the Republic when it was good, and before it was taken over by the bad guy, which he's only bad because he studies the dark side of the Force, and those of us who are on the light side of the Force, we have to be then enemies with the dark side of the Force. So I'm surprised that actually is on there, and with an 8.2, it's a pretty good rating. Then number 2, you got the Mandalorian. I'm gonna learn how to say that. It's an adventure sci-fi, the travels of a lone bounty hunter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. It's got Carl Weathers in it and Gina Carano. I haven't seen it, but that looks like that would be a good 30-minute one. And the number 1, which, well, at least nobody said it on the chat rooms that I'm monitoring, the number 1 of 2020's sci-fi movies and TV shows is Westworld. Set at the intersection of the near future and reimagined past, explore a world which every human appetite can be indulged without consequence. And whoa, did they go off the rails? That was, and I do believe it's over now. I think they're not having any more seasons. But all this goes by popularity, and it goes all the way to number 50. I will have the link up. I will put it up in on the YouTube. I kind of gotta wait a day. I wait till it's posted. It has to go through the upload, then I edit it. It's just easier that way, and I will have this list in there. And so if you want to check it out, you can go check it out. But I follow the IMDb TV list. I will, I will do right now, if I can do it. I will send this over to my producer, and then he can repost it in the chat room that is up and running for Facebook, and post it in YouTube for me too, please. But that's where the list comes from. I'll still put it in the file, so if you don't check it out now, or you're listening to this later as a podcast when I'm not live, you'll be able to scroll to the bottom of the video and you can go check it out. I like, these people are pretty accurate with their lists. As far as most of them, I like them. They're pretty good about it. Yes, and I'm watching 3 little dots go up and down and anxiously awaiting some word back on what I just sent over. And we went over the Stranger Things. Let's see what's going on with... you have the next... the next Simpsons-inspired gag. It says, don't skip solar opposites. Earthling. Each episode opening has a Simpson in... No, you're not being called on now. heal yourself a little bit later. I guess they do a Simpsons-inspired gag every week. They look kind of funny. I'm not really sure what they are, but it almost looks like it's the fingers of a hand. Now, the Green Hornet, which has failed every single time it's came out, returns in first look at Dynamite's Minimalist nor comic relaunch. Somebody with money keeps thinking that it is gonna actually do some good, and I don't think so. It has flopped every single time it's been out, and I don't know why. People just don't want good people. You have too many good people, not enough bad people. So, okay, now here's some Star Wars news. Boba Fett Jetpacks Mandalorian Season 2, played by Temuera Morrison. After a failed movie spin-off, Boba Fett is finally making his live-action return to the world of Star Wars. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Temuera Morrison has been tapped to play a small role as the fan-favorite bounty hunter in Season 2 of The Mandalorian on Disney+. Morrison previously portrayed Jango Fett, the clone father of young Boba, played by Daniel Logan, and the Republic's entire clone army based on Jango's DNA in the prequel movies, starting with the 2002 Attack of the Clones. Given that Boba is a duplicate of another person, the THR sources hint that the character's small screen arrival may be marked by something sneaky involving cloning. So in other words, so they can have another actor play it, they're gonna add a little something to the cloning so they can change his looks, and it's the old ploy of changing a character throughout in the middle of the season and explaining why. So it makes it some believable crazy thing. So let me see if I can play this for you. I think I can.
The first episode of The Mandalorian was released simultaneously with Disney+. We got Matt and Caitlin here from Job of the Pod, Sci-Fi Wire's podcast about Star Wars, and we're going to talk all about it. So guys, there's probably so much, but what jumped out at you when you were watching The Mandalorian?
It's just great because we're seeing that side of Star Wars that we always wanted to see.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, this is just building on a world that we already know, and it is absolutely beautiful. Even down to the transitions between scenes.
The
it's
fades.
oh, it feels so good. Totally.
Yeah.
This series feels like it's a little more grown up. It's violent. It's a Western.
There's toilets.
There's toilets.
I mean, come on.
I loved IG-11.
Yes.
Who's voiced by Taika Waititi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who keeps casting himself in these parts where you're just like, oh, yeah, you do that, Taika.
Yeah.
And then he's
Right.
like a franchise star.
Well, he stole the show immediately. He was definitely my breakout favorite character of The Mandalorian so far.
I also love Werner Herzog's character,
Yes.
who is just right now known as the Client.
Yeah. And he's definitely former Empire, because he's wearing a little Empire medallion
Yes,
on him.
Exactly. And he's got some stormtroopers in there. They're looking a little worse for wear. But
Yeah.
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 Do you want to know my theory? Okay.
Yes, I do.
This is psychotic. Maybe it's not psychotic. I think we're going to find out that he's the Empire equivalent of some weird South American, the Nazis who went to South America and were we will continue as a frog. I think we're going to find out he's some weird eugenics guy who wants to manufacture the Force.
Would you agree?
Interesting.
Yeah. I like
Thank you.
Okay. I mean, we know that the movement doesn't die because we get the first order later on.
Yep. And he says that line, he's like, isn't it nice to restore the order of things? I'm not saying it right, but like something like that.
I think he's gonna be a scary dude.
Well,
Yes.
speaking of the order of things too, we actually see a lot of the Mandalorian culture and or at least the beginnings of something. I feel like we're probably going to get more into it. We've seen a little bit of it in Clone Wars and Rebels, but this is the first time we see it in live action. First of all, first Mandalorian at all we see, and then we see more than one of them, which was so surprising. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like they're being actively persecuted. He's allowed to walk around and look like a Mandalorian. What's the backstory there, do you think?
I mean, I think they're like a little bit forgotten about in the galaxy. Like they're more like legend now at this point in the Star Wars timeline. It's been so long since they've been like such a powerful force in the galaxy.
And you see those moments when the Mandalorian shows up and everyone goes, oh,
yeah,
Mandalorian. Oh, great warriors and all of that. And we saw some of the Purge, which I would assume is the Purge when the Empire kind of went in and took care of them and tried to take some of the Beskar steel from them.
Yeah.
And we're now getting some of that Beskar steel back, and we saw some flashbacks from our nameless Mandalorian hero right now.
Yeah.
Played by Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the Empire attacking that planet, because in the trailer there's a few frames, if you like look closely, it's actually like the droid army, like the Separatist army that's attacking the planet. So that would kind of put them like in Clone Wars era, you know, and
which would explain why he has a thing against droids.
Exactly.
All right, so now, fair warning to everyone watching, we are gonna get into spoiler territory now. So if you did not watch The Mandalorian, why are you watching this? We are warning you though, so you can't complain. Okay.
Baby Yoda, Baby Yoda.
What is it? Baby Yoda. Okay, that's the big moment at the end.
It's a baby. All right, I'm not gonna play this anymore because it's visual and I don't want to confuse anybody. But you will get to see a Baby Yoda in The Mandalorian, so that would be that's got my vote right there. Just to see Yoda not 1,000 years old when he's a little baby, and seeing how what are they called? Anyway, they live to be like 1,000 years old because he's like in 4 of the movies that go from a long time in between the 2. All right, so we will come back and do a little bit more sci-fi. We are going to jump over to some cool stuff that is going on in science. Now, I sat and listened to Eli Musk for 2 hours talking about a new neural implant that they are working on, that he says they should have the first part of it done and for medical use. And what this is they are working on basically it's like your cell phone crammed into this 1 inch by 1 inch diameter by 1 inch depth computer. So it's rather small and it goes in the skull, and it can give lost eyesight back. It can give lost hearing back. It can give lost limb control back. It can fix damaged parts of the brain. Now, they don't know everything of what they're going to be able to do with this and what it's going to be able to do right out of the gate, but they are going to be starting for human trials within the next year. I mean, this is totally awesome. I mean, could you imagine you lose, this would have been great for Christopher Reeves. He lost the use of his legs, and now you have a thing that you can put in that can bypass the damaged network part and give him back with computer aid you can give him back control of his legs. In just the people alone that would get their sight back, it can bypass an ocular nerve and give a person his eyesight back. Now, I don't know about people that are blind from birth, but as far as like if you had the feature before and then you lost it somehow, in some cases, and I don't know what the percentage is yet, but you will be able to get use of those back. Me, that won't help. I gotta wait till they actually can grow replacement spines to cover the damage of my spine and my foot. They took off, so you can't make a footwork that ain't there anymore. But I'm healing up fine. A little slow, but I'm hoping by summer I will get my prosthetic leg, and I'll be able to. Man, it'll be so nice to walk again and not be wheeling around in a wheelchair. Now I won't have my leg all the time. I can wear it when I'm outside. I'll still have wheelchairs around, but hey, you can't win it all, and until we learn how to grow other limbs, yeah, what are you gonna do? Be careful. It has really made me shy around this COVID-19. I've been no problem staying at home, and I don't go out unless I need to, for sanity's sake, or for if I need to go to the grocery store or something, or every once in a while you just got to get out of the house. You can't stay there, but I'm very careful about how I do it and what I'm doing. We'll go a little more into it. I didn't get a chance because I was dealing with my little mess up at the beginning there. So we will play some of these commercials, and then we'll be right back after these messages.
At Benzer Pharmacy, we understand busy. That's why all our locations offer free home delivery, personalized service, refill reminders, and specialty medication, even pet meds.
Are you tired of coming home to find out only that you've been robbed? Did your alarm company call you and tell you that you've been robbed and the police will be there in 20 minutes? No one can stop all thieves. But at CK Custom Security Consultants, we can design and install a real CCTV security system that will give you the evidence you need to put them away. Here at CK Custom Security Consultants, we do an on-site engineering assessment where we discuss the pros and cons of the different security systems available that just might suit your needs. This service is free. There are several different financial options available for you, and we look forward to meeting you and assisting you in reaching your security goals. CKCustom.com, where all of your security needs are met. Are you sick of our healthcare system? The lies, constantly putting you on one more drug that isn't covered by your health insurance company? I'm sick of it too. And I found a very old recipe for colloidal silver. It is a liquid solution created using electrolysis to suspend pure metallic elemental silver in groups of particles of 18 atoms or fewer, each with a positive electric charge, attached to a simple protein molecule in distilled water. Some say that the colloidal silver goes back 4,000 years. I found the process that was almost been lost to time Colloidal Silver works just like triple antibiotic ointment. It will keep your cuts clean, and it's an antiviral too. This product could save your life when there's no doctor around, and you can put Colloidal Silver directly on the wound to keep the infection away. Get yours now at bluecollarpolitics.org. Just click on the BCP store tab, and you are on your way to having that doctor in a bottle.
Whoops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to let it go quiet on there for you. I was helping Mom, so I'm excused. It's Mother's Day weekend, so we gotta do special things for our mothers. Don't forget, tomorrow is Mother's Day, so do not forget to say Happy Mother's Day. Thank you for being my mom. And I love you, Mom. So do not forget to say that only tomorrow, because today's not Mother's Day. So I will repeat it to my mother tomorrow, and
I hope that you all will too. All right. So what we were talking about right before we went to the break is, and Elon Musk is changing. Not only is he sending rockets and stuff to the International Space Station, he's working on getting an astronaut cruise to Mars. He's working on getting astronauts back to the moon. And right back here he makes electric cars. He's got new models coming out. And on top of all that, he's giving back to society by making a controller. It's like a little miniature computer that goes in your brain to help handicapped people regain functions. Like if you could see once and something went wrong with the ocular nerve, it can repair that part of the brain and give you your sight back. It can give you your hearing back. In some cases, it'll be able to reanimate limbs to where you can use your legs again if you couldn't walk, or use your arms again if you lost them. And we really need something like that. And the surprising part, now I've followed this all the way from the beginning one where they have this giant 5-pin connector sticking out of the person's head to give the voice back to I think it's quadriplegic, when all 4 arms and voice and other thing does not work, and it's life-changing to these people that need it. Now, this is a 1 inch by 1 inch diameter by 1 inch depth with little small wires that they do have to hook into the brain where it goes. And good Lord, don't ask me how they do that, because I don't know. But they do connect the probes, the wires into the brain where it needs to be connected to. And then because the human skull's kind of thick, and he said it's about 1 inch tall and 1 inch diameter, they just drill a hole, they put the wires in, put this in, and it works off. It's got a small battery in it. Now, I don't know. He said something about charging, but I'm not a medical person, so I don't know if as your brain is electric, if it could actually charge the battery back up, or if they have to change it, change the battery once a year or something, or however they would do that. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I was watching him on another talk show, and I like listening to Elon Musk. I like how he is, I like how he faces the world. He's in the process now of, he says he wants to sell all his homes. He wants to get rid of many of his inanimate objects. He said he'll just rent a house. He doesn't have time to nitpick about a house. He's doing some rather important things, so I can understand that. He doesn't want to, he'd love to build his own house, but, I mean, if you look at what the man's already doing, he doesn't have time to build a house. But if you can't be there to select exactly how you want everything, then you'll be building someone else's dream and not yours. And he just doesn't have the time. And he says, I don't value that anymore. It's not the top of my priority list. And, that's nice. If you have, 10 homes, you can do that and you're mega rich. I would just love to have anything. So, hey, you never know what'll take us on in the future. Now, that particular thing won't aid in my medical issues, but, I'm hoping that they can
by using stem cells, be able to rebuild a spine or inject you with something that your body could then rebuild, structure bones and, rebuild sections of spine and stuff like that. That would be most wonderful. I could think of, a few people that I know that implant that Elon Musk is making, it will help. I mean, to give someone that had sight and then to lose your sight, I mean, to have had it once and then lost it is so much worse than never having it all. Because if you've never had it at all, then you don't know what you're missing. But if you've had it for a long period of your life and then all of a sudden you're blind, that can be devastating. I don't know if any of you just, put on a blindfold and try to move around your house. You all busted up shins within 10 minutes. Or you'll break a toe or something. It won't be pleasant. But with this new device, I love where some of these, where the science is traveling. Now, this will be an AI chip, and we are getting closer and closer to true AI. They've come close a couple of different times. I forget where it was. I think it was IBM. They made 2 computers that were AI, and this was like a base model AI. And they turned them on, they hooked them together. They weren't hooked to the internet, they were just hooked together. And within 10 minutes, they developed their own language and they started communicating a lot faster with each other back and forth. So they hurry up and unplug them because, and that's a scary thought. What do you think's going to happen when they get an actual true brain that's an AI? I mean, it will be so much smarter than us so fast that, it's like it would be us trying to listen to a dog or cat and understand a dog or cat. You keep them around for your pets, but that's all it is a pet to you. And not everybody, treats them good. Pets get abused all the time, and it's not right, but it happens. We do need to go over, which I normally do at every show, and I made it small, and then I forgot to, what? Oh, man. All right. Here we go. Let me bring up my COVID-19 stats to bring you up. In the United States, we're at 1.34. We just added 27,000 in the last 24 hours. And we've added 1,700 deaths in the last 24 hours. And we still haven't topped 80,000, but we got some more developments, and it is mutated. The article I read on Tuesday was 8 times. I guess now it's 9 times. And we have a 5-year-old that has died of a mysterious illness linked to coronavirus. It's kind of, I'm not even sure where to go on this, because I'm not sure what everybody has dealt with. When I talked with a friend of mine who lives in another part of the country, their scares are different over there. I live, out in the country, so to speak. So since the beginning of this, we've only had 12 deaths in our entire county. And the United States has had a lot. And, like New York, 26,500, almost a third of the entire country's losses are happening in New York State. And they look like they are slowly dropping off. Sorry, I'm hearing some background noise already, and it's really messing with my head. And I don't know if it was there the whole time or if it just now picked up. But I think as long as you are, with the exception of New York, and I'll have to list Texas as that in that exception. I don't envy if you live in a really big city or you live in Texas. I know their numbers have gotten very much horrible. And I played on Tuesday the amount of food that is being wasted right now. Farmers are plowing in entire farms worth of fields. There's nowhere to sell. There's no point in harvesting anything and spending all that money. It'll just rot in a silo because there's no one to buy it. I don't know if the few plants, food plants around the country, I don't know if they started cleaning those. But that's going to be a major expense and a major, it's going to take a lot of people to clean one of those disinfectant-wise. I have a friend of mine that works for a power washing company, and he said they've been running around doing hospitals. He says, we haven't done a driveway in a month and a half. He says, we're just, we're going in these hospitals, and they are moving out the electronic equipment. We are taking high-pressure washers in there and pressure washing the room from top to bottom. I'm glad to have some of my friends in work. Now, we have basically had a death in the family. One of my very good friends whom I've known since I've been old enough to talk, he died last Sunday. He died of a severe heart attack, and it's COVID related, but he didn't have the sickness. He had the what's called the COVID-19 stress bomb hit him. And, barbers, beauticians, people that do massages for a living, all of them they're not allowed to do their job. That is one really scary place that could, transmit the disease rather easily. And you got two people that, your barber and you or your hairstylist you're in real close proximity for 20 minutes to a half hour, and it don't take but one minor slip up and you just passed COVID-19 to someone. So understandably, they're keeping all those businesses shut down. Well, unfortunately, he didn't qualify for the $1,200 from the government, so he got really stressed out about food and the situation, and, there were other underlying things that I won't go into. He was a very good friend of mine. He did not deserve it. And he died of a heart attack, and he will be missed and thought of daily, and prayers said for him. So, we all are getting to a point where
we know people that have died from this, and it's, if it's not in your immediate family, it's in your extended family. And, you got to hang on to those you got left, but yet you have to keep your social distancing with them and keep your, you can't hug your own family. You shouldn't really even shake hands. You should just keep, your distance, and pretty much if it goes in through a household, it's going to go through everybody in the household. So if someone gets sick, then you gotta move them to protect the rest of your family. And it's making for some very rough decisions. And it's affecting everybody. A tailor of President Trump has COVID-19. So they shut down the White House. They tested everybody. The president's test has come back clean. So they don't, I haven't heard anything more about if they know where he got sick or anything like that. But don't worry, President Trump has 3 or 4 people that take care of his clothes. Because, that would be too difficult for him picking out a, shirt and tie that matched every day. All right. Oh, I covered over my clock. All right, so we'll be right back after these messages.
At Benzer Pharmacy, we understand busy. That's why all our locations offer free home delivery, personalized service, refill reminders, and specialty medications, even pet meds.
Blue Collar Politics is brought to you by CK Custom Security Consultants and Paladin Security Consultants. Offers you an unparalleled after-the-sale service where you become a client, not just a sale. We offer DVR multi-camera systems, access point sales and service, NVR multi-location systems up to 320 cameras, biometric safeguards, wireless cameras, computer networks, mobile cameras for car, truck, camper, or semi-truck, POS, point of sale, cash register systems, video compiling, loss prevention. We are experienced with the court procedure, asset protection, hardened access point installs, door or upgrade. We offer expert security analytics free with purchase. We also offer free digital forensic service all the way to the courtroom. We never leave our clients to fend for themselves. We work with the police department and the prosecutors to ensure your interests are looked after. At CK Custom and Paladin Security Consultants, we can work with your contractor to install your security DVR system during a remodel or new construction in order to hide the wires, providing the perfect professional install. We are here to make your business more secure. CKC Security Consultants and Paladin Security Consultants are ready to help enhance your security, engineer, installation, and maintenance, and investigation. Browse our site and then give us a call for a free on-site consult at 352-321-9519. We serve the Central Florida area, but we do have the capability to travel to put a system in anywhere in the state of Florida. You can go to ckcustom.com and find out everything about the camera systems we offer, and if you have any questions, we have multiple pages that explain each one of the features that we list for sale. want to make sure you understand what you are getting when you get it, and that you know you are protected after you purchase a system from Paladin Security Consulting.
Are you sick of our healthcare system? The lies, constantly putting you on one more drug that isn't covered by your health insurance company? I'm sick of it too. And I found a very old recipe for colloidal silver. It is a liquid solution created using electrolysis to suspend pure metallic elemental silver in groups of particles 18 atoms or fewer, each with a positive electric charge, attached to a simple protein molecule in distilled water. Some say that the colloidal silver goes back 4,000 years. I found the process that was almost been lost to time. Colloidal silver works just like triple antibiotic ointment. It will keep your cuts clean, and it's an antiviral too. This product could save your life when there's no doctor around, and you can put colloidal silver directly on the wound to keep the infection away. Get yours now at bluecollarpolitics.org. Just click on the BCP store tab, and you are on your way to having that doctor in a bottle.
All right, we are back, and I want to get back into this 5-year-old that died of a mysterious illness linked to the coronavirus. It is the first known death in New York believed to be related to the mysterious new syndrome, which officials said began appearing in recent weeks. Mr. Kumo said that Friday that 73 children in the New York area had been reported to be afflicted with the illness, which doctors have labeled pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome. Say that really fast. He said the health department was investigating whether or not other deaths of children were caused by the sickness. Let's hear what the governor has to say.
The good news about this virus was it didn't affect children, which was taken as great news, right? Now we have a new issue that we're looking at, which is something we're just investigating now. But while rare, we're seeing some cases where children affected with the COVID virus can become ill with symptoms similar to the Kawasaki disease or toxic shock-like syndrome that literally causes inflammation in their blood vessels. This past Thursday, a 5-year-old boy passed away from COVID-related complications, and the State Department of Health is investigating several other cases that present similar circumstances. This would be really painful news and would open up an entirely different chapter, because I can't tell you how many people I spoke to who took peace and solace in the fact that children were not getting infected. If you see any of the symptoms that are on the chart that your child is evidencing, caution should be taken, because this is something that we're looking at. And again, there has been at least one fatality because of this, and there may be others that are now under investigation. So this is every parent's nightmare, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is every parent's nightmare. This is not something that you want to have happen. They have a list of things that you watch out for. I'm hoping I can find that list somewhere else, because it popped up on the video and then went off the screen, so I can't go over the list for you. But it basically said from what I could read right away, it was you're looking for clammy skin, you're looking for high temperature consistent of at least 5 days, You're looking at dry sweats. You're looking at lethargic. When your kid's sick. You just need to pay attention really close now, because if this thing can start going after our 5-year-olds, this is not good. And New York is just being lambasted with this. And it's partly because there's 40 million people in New York. There's 20 million in New York City, and that's, to me, I could never live in a place like that. I at one point lived in Denver, Lakewood, Colorado. We lived in the foothills, and that was too close for me. We had sidewalks. Out here where I live now, there are no sidewalks. We don't get a lot of people walking. When they do, they're walking out in the road, but fortunately it's a lower speed limit here, so nobody's been hurt here recently. At least since we've been here, we haven't seen anyone coming close. According to the most recent breakdown from the state, 3 children younger than 10 have died from the virus out of more than 21,000 fatalities. In an apparently separate case, officials in Westchester County, just north of New York City, said on Friday that a child being treated there for the illness had died last week. The child suffered from neurological complications from the syndrome, said Dr. Michael Jewitz, the physician-in-chief at the Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital in Valhalla, where the child was treated. This is just bad news, and wow. You can buy a lightsaber now. No way. They are selling lightsabers. I gotta check out this single blade lightsaber. I'm curious. They got a bunch of them. And wow. Okay. Or you can, the grab bag saber. I know I'm right. But wow, the city will limit crowds to 2 parks and unequal distancing policy. Look at they showed it's horrible. No one's wearing masks. They have copies. Thank you.
The way to address social distancing is tons of education and, of course, the right kind of enforcement. But we see in some places the enforcement is made harder by the sheer physical circumstances. So we're going to try a new approach, and this is a beginning. 46 limit any given area. We'll have NYPD with other agencies. At the end of the day, limiting the number of people go in. Obviously, offering people things. Make sure the number of people never wait, and when it is, asking people to move out. Try that approach. See if that gets us closer to where we need to be. Domino Park, Williamsburg, another place where we've had problems. We're going to intensify the enforcement and monitoring there to make sure the numbers are kept smaller as well. This is what we'll do to get started and try this out.
All right, so keep that in mind. You know, they're having problems with this in New York. I've noticed they aren't really having a lot of these problems down in Florida where I live. There's very little problem with the park. In all the times I've went past it, I've never seen more than 10 people in the park, and it's a fairly big park. So I'm glad that it seems that most people are following social distancing, and with only having 12 people die over the entire process of it, and everybody that, from what I could find out, everybody that is currently sick is in the hospital. So we don't have any cases that are outside the hospital right now, which is good. And, you know, I hope people in New York get it figured out and they can stop, because they got huge numbers. I mean, you imagine 21,000 people from one city all dying. I mean, do you think there's anybody there that doesn't know somebody that has died from coronavirus? I wouldn't think so with that many people dead. And these are all Americans. So I don't know if they weren't following social distancing or they were just unlucky at the wrong place at the wrong time. But please wear your mask. Try to keep yourself 6 feet away from people. You know, family included. Just, you know, this is real. This is mutating. This is getting to where it is attacking more, but it's attacking them in less numbers. I saw somewhere where they said it is worse than the flu, but less than measles. And there are all kinds of treatments and stuff like that in human trials right now. So with any luck, we'll have a treatment for it by the end of the year and maybe have a vaccine later. I've heard both ends. I've heard we may have a vaccine within a couple of years, and then I've heard it's going to be years before we have a vaccine. You know, or it could be like flu, where they're still working on it today. They do not have a good solid treatment and or a good vaccine that takes out. There's too many adaptations of the flu to get. And I've had double walking pneumonia, so I know what it's like to have a bad case of the flu. You can't breathe. It fills up on your lungs. When they took the x-ray, both my lungs were all white. Now, this was years ago. I haven't been sick with it in a long time, knock on wood. That was wood. There was just a couple things sitting on my desk that made noise. Also, they had an incident where a policeman attacked, tackled, and stunned someone for not doing their social distancing. Now, yeah, I don't think this should be an arrestable offense, but you should pay attention. And if a cop comes up and tells you you're being too close, then just move farther away and let him go on to bothering someone else. Okay? Just move away. And because that little phrase could just save your life. Wear your face mask, and remember, the face mask isn't necessarily to protect you, it's to protect everybody else from you. So if you wear your face mask, then you are protecting yourself from getting anybody else sick. And if everybody does that, then nobody will be getting sick. Now, we do know that strains and some mutations of this, that's a virus. I mean, every SARS that we've had so far on this earth has done that. The flu still is mutating
constantly. I think we're up to 21 or 22 of the different versions of the flu that we have. So just pay attention, and I hate bringing you this news from New York, and I guess one of the other places it's really bad is St. Louis, Missouri. That's the central trucking spine for the United States. I mean, basically every piece of cargo goes through there one direction or another. But I'm not going to beat it all up about what's going on in New York that much. Just do your social distancing, and we'll be better off. Doctors warn of a rare syndrome being seen in Michigan children. We also have some... All right, let's check out what he has to say. Okay, we did not mean to... Sorry, let me get back to it. Wait a minute. Oh. No. Sometimes I hate these ads that you can't stop or you can't control. I want to hear what the guy has to say, but I don't need to be blasted with an ad. Wait a minute.
To COVID-19. Local doctors say they have now treated several cases here in Michigan. Our Dr. Frank McGeorge joins us with the symptoms parents need to watch out for.
This illness is being called pediatric multisystem inflammatory syndrome. Children's Hospital says they've seen 15 to 20 cases in the past 2 weeks. They want to get the word out because the symptoms can be very typical of other childhood illnesses, but this can quickly progress to a life-threatening situation. The symptoms in younger children include fever lasting at least 2 days, a rash, red or peeling palms or soles, red and cracked lips, and red inflamed eyes. Children may also have a strawberry red tongue.
And what's very serious about this is that the patients can develop myocardial, which means heart involvement. So not only do the coronary arteries potentially get involved, but the function of the heart itself can be impaired.
Older children and teens tend to have more subtle symptoms, including a fever lasting more than 48 hours, along with a rash or gastrointestinal symptoms like abdominal pain or diarrhea.
If the child is not right, they have fever and they're just not right, if they have any of these other symptoms, please call your pediatrician. If you can't reach your pediatrician, if you can't be seen by a doctor, go to your local emergency room, preferably one with expertise with children.
Now, cases have been seen in babies all the way up to teenagers, but the majority have been under age 6. I'll have more on this warning and the potential connection to COVID-19 coming up at 5. Back to you.
Okay, I'm glad we got to the list. It has been named the Pediatric Multisystem Inflammatory Syndrome. And although it's rare, it is popping up. And they have several in ICU right now. And they have several in the hospital. So, you can't help but feel bad for these children. And again, those symptoms are fever for plus 48 hours, rash, red or peeling palms or soles, red and cracked lips, red inflamed eyes, strawberry red tongue. For older children and teenagers, we're talking 6 and above, fever for 48 hours, rash, and gastrointestinal problems such as abdominal pain or diarrhea. Please, see your doctor if you can't get into your
your pediatrician, then take them to the emergency room. Do not leave this not treated. This can get very serious very fast. And you do not want to see that in, I don't want to see any children sick, but to be sick with this is very bad. And when you look at, worldwide, it seems to be slowing down a little because they've only added 5,500 deaths in the past 24 hours. And of that 5,500, almost 2,000 of them are from the U.S. So we are getting hit pretty hard still as a country. We just have some red areas. Now, down here in Florida, it's mostly down in Miami and southern Florida where we're getting hit very hard. And I've heard a couple of people talking about, oh, well, winter it attacks worse than in the summer it doesn't. Well, no, you got that backwards. Viruses work better in the heat than they do the cold. So as it warms up and gets hotter, it would have a tendency of getting worse. Medically, that's why the hospital is always set at a very low temperature because it slows the germs down and gives them time to get them cleaned up before they can spread. The worst thing you could do is have a air conditioner go out in the hospital. That would be very bad. All right, and just so in case you're not sure, I want to go over this little thing about COVID-19 so that way you understand. It is caused by a coronavirus called SARS-CoV-2. Older adults and people have had severe underlying medical conditions like heart or lung disease or diabetes seem to be at higher risk for developing more serious complications from COVID-19 illness. How it spreads, it is thought to mainly spread from person to person, mainly through respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby and possibly inhaled into the lungs. The spread is more likely when people are in close contact with one another within about 6 feet. It may be possible that that person can get COVID-19 by touching a surface or object that has the virus on it, and then touching their own mouth, nose, or possibly their eyes. This is not thought to be a main way the virus spreads, but we are still learning about this virus. The virus that causes COVID-19 is spreading very easily and sustainably between people. Information from the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic suggests that the virus is spreading more efficiently than influenza, but not as efficiently as measles, which is highly contagious. If you feel that you need to learn any more than that, go to cdc.gov. You should already have been on this site and checked it out. Please stay up on what you can know about it. It's always good to understand what's going on currently with whatever is affecting, whether it be this or any other illness, so you know how to just, with a few small adjustments in your life, you can knock yourselves out from a probably list to a unlikely list, and you'll be safe. You'll be safer than people that don't believe it exists and believe it's just some conspiracy theory or something like that. All right. We'll be right back after these commercials.
At Benzer Pharmacy, we understand busy. That's why all our locations offer free home delivery, personalized service, refill reminders, and specialty medication, even pet meds.
Are you sick of our healthcare system? The lies, constantly putting you on one more drug that isn't covered by your health insurance company? I'm sick of it too. And I found a very old recipe for colloidal silver. It is a liquid solution created using electrolysis to suspend pure metallic elemental silver in groups of particles 18 atoms or fewer, each with a positive electric charge, attached to a simple protein molecule in distilled water. Some say that the colloidal silver goes back 4,000 years. I found the process that was almost been lost to time. Colloidal silver works just like triple antibiotic ointment. It will keep your cuts clean, and it's an antiviral too. This product could save your life when there's no doctor around, and you can put colloidal silver directly on the wound to keep the infection away. Get yours now at bluecollarpolitics.org. Just click on the BCP store tab, and you are on your way to having that doctor in a bottle.
Are you tired of coming home to find out only that you've been robbed? Did your alarm company call you and tell you that you've been robbed and the police will be there in 20 minutes? No one can stop all thieves. But at CK Custom Security Consultants, we can design and install a real CCTV security system that will give you the evidence you need to put them away. Here at CK Custom Security Consultants, we do an on-site engineering assessment where we discuss the pros and cons of the different security systems available that just might suit your needs. This service is free. There are several different financial options available for you, and we look forward to meeting you and assisting you in reaching your security goals. CKCustom.com, where all of your security needs are met.
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war?
Blue Collar Politics is brought to you by CK Custom Security Consultants and Paladin Security Consultants. Offers you an unparalleled after-the-sale service where you become a client, not just a sale. We offer DVR multi-camera systems, access point sales and service, NVR multi-location systems up to 320 cameras, biometric safeguards, wireless cameras, computer networks, mobile cameras for car, truck, camper, or semi-truck, POS, point of sale, cash register systems, video compiling, loss prevention. We are experienced with the court procedure, asset protection, hardened access point installs, door or upgrade. We offer expert security analytics free with purchase. We also offer free digital forensic service all the way to the courtroom. We never leave our clients to fend for themselves. We work with the police department and the prosecutors to
ensure your interests are looked after. At CK Custom and Paladin Security Consultants, we can work with your contractor to install your security DVR systems during a remodel or new construction in order to hide the wires, providing the perfect professional install. We are here to make your business more secure. CKC Security Consultants, Paladin Security Consultants.
Okay, folks. I'll let you in on a little secret on what's going on. I all of a sudden am not feeling that well. So I am going to bug out early tonight. I'm sure they're going to put on a really cool repeat for the rest of the time on the show. And I'm really sorry for doing it. We'll see if I feel better tomorrow. I'll come on and do the rest of the show. I got a lot of information I haven't covered yet. But, no matter what we do, we have to put our health first. And so I will talk to you guys later. Be safe out there. And keep your family safe. And I appreciate y'all coming out tonight to listen so far. Good night.